Hey B, welcome back.
Hey Dee, I'm so excited to be back.
Yeah, this is number three.
This is number three, and I
Um,
feel like it's a full circle moment because our first podcast together was a recap of Ari season, and here we are again with some Bachelor talk.
yeah, actually, okay, so we know that as Bachelor goes, the finale is always the most dramatic in the history, right?
Yes.
Always. And, they were really saying, no, 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 like this one was the most dramatic. But to be honest, of the most recent seasons, I still think Ari was the most dramatic ending.
It was because it was the first time that we had ever seen the series of events that had ensued after. I mean, Jason's season was
Yeah,
similar to
it was.
Ari's,
Hmm.
but this was a different like unfolding of events post the finale.
Right.
So yes, and I agree. That was definitely the most dramatic. This was also extremely interesting. So I'm excited
Yeah.
to dig in and discuss.
Yeah, let's unpack it all. And so, for anyone that's listening, please realize this has spoilers. This is if you have watched The Bachelor this season in its entirety, or you haven't and you just want to be spoiled, please be warned.
We're
Consider this
about to
your
tell you everything.
warning. Which I don't know if Pete gives a warning before he blasts off.
No, he just kind of goes all in.
And then all out.
Yeah, and then in a couple different directions after that.
Yeah, that's how Pilot Pete operates. So, okay, first of all, what was your initial reaction when Pilot Pete even got asked to be the Bachelor for this round?
I'll be honest, I wasn't really that excited. I did like him on Hannah B's season. He's got that kind of like boy next door, cute, dimply look, and he's got good energy and he seems friendly and fun. So I liked all of that about him. However, when it came to someone that I felt like deserved a chance, I was really rooting for Mike. I
Me
was like really
too.
team Mike. I wanted
Oh,
a
so
uh,
smiley.
yes, I wanted like a man of color. I wanted him to be the first one. I think he really wanted it. I think he was like in the running for sure. So
Hmm.
I was really team Mike. And then when they announced Pete, I'm kind of like, oh, this is more of the same. But at the same time, I felt like he would be fun and interesting enough to have a good season. So I was like, all right, let's see how it goes.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting. Unfortunately, he proved to be another like was the other pilot guy. What was his name?
Oh, Jake.
Jake. That's right. I mean, he that was not a good move, right? He was a
No,
terrible bachelor, and history repeated itself.
definitely. He was not a good bachelor. He didn't pick the right girl. That was probably one of my least favorite seasons when I can go back in time.
Hmm.
So I think they were trying to do a pilot round two and recover from that.
Yeah.
But that didn't end up happening. This was even more of a train wreck than Jake's season.
Yeah. No, I definitely had my hesitation when they picked Pete. However, at the same time, I was like, you know what? He was fun on Hannah's season. They had a great time. I think this could be a really juicy, sexy season, and
Yes.
I think the biggest default, and not to knock anyone, they did cast way too young. Putting so many people that are literally in their early 20s, like they haven't even hit their Saturn return yet. Like they don't even like I would have no concept of anything at 22, 23 years old.
Right. Life hasn't really knocked them down enough
Hmm.
to fully be ready to immerse themselves in this kind of experience, plus
Hmm.
maybe get engaged at the end. Some of these girls are literally a year out of
Oh
college. And
yeah.
I know looking back on it at 23, I definitely wasn't ready for something like that. So that was a little disappointing how young they cast. That
Hmm.
seems to be a trend the
Yeah.
last couple of seasons. I
Yeah.
would have much preferred that 26
Yes.
to early 30s,
32.
even a little
Hmm.
older than Pete, I think would have
Yeah.
been fine.
Yeah, because he did like there was a couple of women that were a little older than him that he did keep around. Kelly and who was the one woman? She really like gave it to him. She was very direct with him. She made it to like the top five. Why can't I think of her?
The
Natasha? Was that her name?
that might have been it. Yes, I can't. Some of the non
Names.
the ones that weren't shown a lot, their names kind of escape me, but I think
Yeah,
that's
but I
right.
think she was 30, and she was the one that kept it the most real. She would call him out whenever like he wasn't giving enough attention, or she's like, "You just wasted our entire date, on drama with Hannah or drama with Ileana or whatever her name was, you know?
Yeah, she kept it real, and I liked that. And Kelly kept it real,
Mm,
and you could tell who was in a different place in their life during
yeah,
the airing, and who was, Instagram famous a couple years out of college type of scenario.
totally. I mean, I looked up Maddie and Hannah's charts. By the way, Maddie and Hannah are 1 month apart, first of all,
Interesting.
right? And they were both born in 1996.
Oh my gosh, I feel
I
so
know.
old.
I know. I was like, wait, what? Is that when The Bachelor came out?
No, The
Wait, when did it come
Bachelor
out?
was
Maybe later.
2002, I think was
Oh
the first
yeah.
season.
We
We
were
were
we
in
were
college.
yeah, we were freshmen, I think.
Yeah.
You're right. You're right. Okay. That
Yeah.
makes me feel a little better.
Yeah.
So they were just like 6 when it first came out. Little 5-year-olds.
Yeah, I don't think they were watching it.
Yeah. So okay. So, clearly it was a dramatic season. I think Pete is a playboy and they set him up to really kind of like fall into his playboy ways. They didn't give him women that challenged him to not be a playboy.
I agree with that. I think he was overly excited to be the Bachelor, to
Yeah.
have all these seemingly very beautiful women in front of him as options. And I think he may not be the right type of guy to have that many options, as we saw.
Mm, totally, because he's a party boy. Like his brother called him out on it. He was like, "You go to the clubs like all the time, and like you sleep around." So like literally, the Bachelor was like, "Here you go. We're just going to give this to you because
Exactly. And that
what
was a
you do."
well-known fact that he was definitely a party boy, not conservative whatsoever. We even saw that with the way he was with Hannah B, right? In the
Yeah.
fantasy suite. So I'm not sure that, putting a little kid in a candy store was the right move. So, that's just my 2 cents. I think
Yeah.
you agree.
Yeah. I actually was really surprised. I told you this earlier that he didn't sleep with someone before the fantasy suites.
Yeah, because we saw that on Caitlin's season,
I thought he was going to
and she
pull a
kind of
Nick
broke the
Kyle.
rules. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
I could have seen that someone was going to say, like, push him to go that far, and he would just take the bait. But he did end up doing it just at the lovely fantasy suite week.
Well, he only got 2 in though.
True. I
Yeah.
think he was. Yeah, I think he would have wanted to go 3 for 3.
Yeah, I think he wanted to sleep with. I'm actually surprised. So there's a rumor that he has slept with Kelsey, or not Kelsey, Kelly. Like I guess rumor has it he broke it off with Hannah Ann. Then Super Bowl weekend he saw Kelly, and that was
I
before the
saw
whole
that.
thing. So
Yes.
it probably happened.
I wouldn't be surprised. There's a lot of rumors out there about him going around, like what he did post the Hannah Ann breakup. Not sure what to believe, but nothing would shock me with his inconsistency that we saw the entire season.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised if he tried to sleep with Kelsey too.
Yeah, he definitely will take the chance if he's offered it.
That is very true. That is very true. So, okay, so all this like panned out. We get to, and what were your thoughts on like, did you think Maddie was gonna like turn into what she did?
What do you mean?
So like Maddie, when she first, all right, so Maddie like came out and she was like this cute, sweet girl. She went to, what's also hilarious is like that reunion wedding that his parents had.
The vow renewal.
Yeah, she's like, now when they look back at their vow renewal, like Maddie's in the pictures.
And she's right next to Barb.
She's like so good.
Yeah, that will be forever in their memories and physical memories. So the irony there is uncanny.
Yeah.
But to answer your question, what did I think of Maddie?
Yeah.
I liked her on that first date. I thought she was sweet. I thought she was put together. I thought they seemed to have a lot of fun together.
Mm-hmm.
Did I think she would be the girl at the end that he'd get engaged to based on what I saw in the beginning? No, because it was too early to tell. And he honestly seemed like into everybody. It was hard to see who he was like leaning towards.
Yeah.
But
oh
I
my God, that sounds like my dating life.
Yeah, you're into everybody.
No, I think the guys I like to date are into everybody, and I don't know.
Oh no. I think that I didn't predict her to be one of the last women standing based on the early part of the season. However, I think we saw an evolution with her, especially as she started to share more about her values and what she was looking for and saving herself for marriage and where she stood on faith. You didn't get that in the very beginning. So I feel like we learned a new side of her
Yeah.
as the season unfolded. And as the season unfolded, it was becoming even more clear to me that the two of them were not a match.
Yeah.
And I never saw the chemistry. I never saw the spark. So it was surprising to me that he was so into her the entire time.
Totally. I mean, one thing that I noticed from the start, and I mentioned it to you, was like she never initiated anything physical with him. Like he was always kissing her. Like she was always kind of leaning back. She would pull away first. Like I didn't see the physical chemistry. Like she never would open up her body to him.
No, and I'm not sure if it was the uncomfortableness of cameras being in your face while you're trying to have an intimate moment.
Sure.
That could have played into it, as she is a little bit more of a conservative gal. However, I did, as they got to the hometown dates and the fantasy suite week when they had more time to spend together,
Yeah.
I didn't see it either.
Yeah.
And he seemed like all in with her, though. Like I was always getting that from him. Like he wanted it to work so bad,
I know.
but I never got that feeling from her at
Right.
all.
You mentioned, okay, so you watched the finale with your boyfriend. What did he say about that piece? Like that, why did he think that Pete wanted her so bad?
I think because she was a challenge. I
Yeah.
think guys love what they can't have. They
Mhm.
like someone that's a little bit opposite of them because it presents some type of excitement that sort of lights them up.
Mhm.
So I think that was his take on it, instead of just the easy way out, which was Hannah Ann, unfortunately.
Right, right. So, what's interesting too is, so I pulled up their charts, and Pete is a Leo sun, Taurus moon. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think he comes off that way. Like Leo, like a Leo male is very much kind of that very charismatic, center of attention, lights up a room, very magnetic. However, he does have that very like emotional side to him, and that's where the Taurus
Yes.
moon kind of plays in. I think that's a lot of his mom's influence is kind of like tied to that Taurus moon. And then
Mm-hmm.
Maddie is actually, you're going to love this. So she's an Aries sun. So I can see where the Leo and the Aries kind of, get super ignited.
100%. Yep.
She's a Gemini moon.
I can relate to that. I'm a Gemini moon.
Yeah.
Fun fact for our listeners.
Yeah, I know. I feel like you're always kind of like playing with that piece of yourself. So I
Definitely. I haven't fully embraced my Gemini moon. So it makes me feel a little closer to Maddie. I will say that. But it does, the Gemini moon does cause, a back and forth energy.
Yeah.
And it's making sense and it's adding up because I can see that in the way that she presented herself to Pete. So, and then what's Hannah Ann?
So Hannah Ann she's a month apart from Maddie, which is really interesting. Like they're exactly a month. Like Maddie's March 26th, Hannah is April 25th. And so Hannah is a Taurus sun, Cancer moon.
Okay. Which I don't feel as compatible with Pete.
No, I think he probably felt a sense of home with Hannah, a sense of comfort. Like I feel like he probably thought with Hannah Ann, she'll never leave me.
Which I don't think she would, given what you just said in her chart. Yeah.
Which probably threw him off when she was kind of like, goodbye.
Yeah. Yeah. Cancer moons love a sense of family and home. And I think she wanted that with Pete, and he was definitely resisting that piece for sure.
Yeah, but I think where her bite and why she was able to get up and walk away is Hannah Ann is Aries Mars.
Okay, so that makes sense.
I think that gave her that like push. So where I was confused about, like you could totally tell he was pulling away from Hannah Ann before the engagement, like that night before he saw her. I thought he was going to break it off then, to be honest.
I did too. I thought he was going to say, tell the producers that before that final where he stands up on that podium or whatever it is and he does the proposal, I thought that it wouldn't even get to that point.
Right.
And that he would tell Hannah Ann he just wasn't fully there.
Yeah.
However, when Maddie exited and eliminated herself, I think he was left with only one choice, and then he just wanted to have some kind of ending to the show. And I think he just went along with it, even though his heart wasn't fully in it. And I also think he was trying to please his mom, because that's who she wanted him to pick.
Yeah. Why do you think Barb was so obsessed with her?
I think she's very overprotective and overbearing. I mean, let's keep it real. He still lives with his parents, right?
Yeah, I didn't
He's 28,
realize
he still
that.
lives at home.
Why does he still live with them? Like, he doesn't, I don't get it.
So I guess I had seen in an interview after Hannah B season that he was getting that question a lot.
Yeah.
And I think the answer was good. He said, I'm literally flying all the time.
True.
So it doesn't make sense for me to have an expensive place in LA, right? Which is where his parents live, to pay rent to be there 3 days out of the month. So he said, for now, while I have this job with Delta, it makes sense for me to live with them, and then I'll figure it out in the future. I do get that, given his career path.
Yeah, sure.
However, I think he definitely needs to leave that nest, because Barb is extremely overprotective, extremely overbearing, and plays way too much influence. I've never seen a parent on this show play that much of an influence in the final decision. Never seen that.
Ever. They're usually like, maybe they'll have some concerns. I'd say that the season that probably had the most concerns was Nick's mom. I felt like she was concerned about him.
She was, and she wanted him to make the right choice, because I think she had seen him go through the process.
Yeah, she was nervous.
Once, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And she didn't love who did Nick pick? He picked the Canadian.
He picked Vanessa.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but really overall, even Colton's parents, like, no one was really ever that involved like the way she was.
No. And
this was
you can
next
see
level.
how much of a hold she has on him.
Yeah.
More so even than the brother and the dad. It seems like she really is the most controlling out of the three of them.
Wait, let me see if I can find out Barb's birthday over here.
I definitely want to know Barb's astrology.
Barb, I don't even know. What's her last name?
Weber.
Wow, you could be. Barb Weber, birthday. I like the dad, though.
I do like the dad. Pete Sr., he seems sweet.
Is his name Pete, too?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, maybe she just has a little attachment to the older. That's not coming up.
Okay.
But I'm sure it's something that would be telling.
Oh,
do you think they're still chatting, the mom and first of all, do you think he's still living at home?
I mean, I'm sure he's still technically living at home.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's finding every excuse to be out with friends, given how everything unfolded, and he's single at this point.
Yeah. Wait, is he going to be trapped because of the coronavirus with his parents at home?
Oh my
Is that how this all ends?
Just
single and in quarantine with Barb.
Yeah, I don't think that's how anybody envisioned the completion of Pilot Pete's season to be. But you know what? Maybe they're going to have some forced confrontation and hash it all out as a family and figure out how they all move forward, right?
Yeah, I think they'll make up. I can't imagine they'll stay mad at each other.
No, I think the dust will settle. Give it a couple months. In fact, nobody, will be even chatting about Pilot Pete. We'll be on to Claire's season at that point. So everything will be okay.
Yeah. So let's segue back to Hannah. So Hannah Ann, I thought it was interesting because you definitely could tell he was losing interest, but then Madison said goodbye. And then it seemed like Hannah Ann was picking up on it because Chris came to him and was like, hey, the engagement may not happen. Like Hannah Ann may not come. Right. Yep. And so you're kind of like, what the fuck? Like, why is she not going to come? And then all of a sudden she does, but she's like, it's weird. Like you don't get, like, they must've edited something because it's like, how did she go from not wanting to, maybe I missed something, but not wanting to go to the engagement to then being at the engagement and being so open and saying yes and not talking to him or wanting to know more about like, wait, Madison left. Why did she leave? Like she didn't seem to want to get any more intel.
No, I think there definitely was a lot edited out. I always felt like at the end, I'm like, we do not have all the facts here. There's a hole and something is missing. Mm-hmm. She was very hesitant to go to the proposal. You could tell she was uncomfortable that night before when they had their final date because he left it so open-ended with her and she didn't have that security of being picked. Yeah. You could tell she was like nervous when she pulled up and had that nervous energy when she said hi to Chris. Mm-hmm. That was present. And then during the actual proposal, when he blurted out that he was in love with her, she had the most like shocking look on her
Yeah.
face when he said that. She did not think she was getting picked.
Yeah. No, I know.
That was
Maybe,
clear.
yeah. And maybe that's why she wasn't going to go. Because she was just like, if I'm not getting picked, I don't want to be here.
And it's embarrassing and I might as well just leave. But, you know, obviously the producers didn't spoil it for her, but they knew, hey, you are getting picked. So you should probably get in this limo and you should probably go.
Right.
But it was strange how like he just blurted out in the middle of a proposal that Maddie had left 2 days ago. Like, who talks about another woman while you're proposing to somebody else? That's so strange.
I know. I felt that in my gut. I was just like, oh, like, did you really just say that? Like,
yeah,
again,
that was like nails on a chalkboard for me.
That was bad. And then, yeah. And I mean, you know, she said yes, whatever. And it was fine. But then, so then what, after that, then I guess it's fast forward to him coming to visit her.
Yeah. Okay. So I thought something was weird. In most seasons, after they show the engagement, and they did this with Becca and Ari, even though it didn't work out, they flash to the couple with like a glass of champagne. They're like, we're engaged and we're so excited. And they're like frolicking around whatever foreign country they're in.
Right.
They didn't show that with Pete and Hannah Ann. They showed it like cut to like the next scene of like them chatting after it was over.
Yeah, it was very abrupt.
It was very abrupt. There was a lot that we didn't see. And yeah, the next thing we saw was him going to that house in California for them to meet up and talk.
Yeah. And that's when she really handled herself very well.
She did. I was like, okay, where was this girl this entire season? And I think she got a bad edit because she was like a robot. She has way more personality and class than we had seen the entire time. And I was like, okay, now we're getting to it. Right. She could not have handled herself any better than she did during that breakup. I was so impressed by her.
Definitely. And I think she really used whatever time apart they had to really like get clear on what she wanted from him, what her expectations were. And she knew, like, you can even tell when she answered the door, she knew something was up.
Yeah, but what's sad is she said in interviews since that they had talked on the phone that morning and they agreed that they were going to try and work it out and stay together. So he did not tell her. And she said, hey, if you're going to break up with me, just like give me a heads up, right? Before I get on a plane to come and do this meetup with you. And it's filmed by ABC.
Exactly.
And he didn't tell her. And that was a little shady, honestly, on his part, because he could have said, hey, I it's going that direction, but we still need to do this for the show, right? He could have at least given her that courtesy instead of just springing it on her, which is also what felt like Ari did to Becca. He just sprung it on her. And then we had to see their reactions. But you could tell that she had her answers very well thought out, that she had thought about that on the way to see him.
Yeah, like I think even though she was quote unquote blindsided, I think she knew deep down she had a backup plan of if this all goes down, this is what I need to say. And it was good to see that because women need to see that, you know, individuals need to see that if a man is not treating you properly, you are not only allowed, but obligated to speak up and say something.
Yes. And he was so wishy-washy with her after they got engaged. And, you know, he said, I can't give you my full heart. And she said, well, then, you know, why am I even here at this point? And why did you even propose to me if you can't give me your full heart? I wish he would have, in that scene, I wish he would have been a little bit more honest about the needing the closure with Hannah B and his feelings for Maddie as the culprit for why he wasn't all in. He was like extremely vague, like he was the entire season.
I know. So vague. But again, like men don't want to, they're afraid to like reveal too much. Or at least that's
I know. But like, every woman, especially your fiance, deserves a real explanation.
Yeah. He doesn't know how to be engaged. He doesn't know how to be in a long-term relationship.
No, I don't think that's a good fit for him at this point in his life. I think he just wants to be free, do whatever he wants, which, you know, goes back to the beginning of this conversation. He probably wasn't the right pick to be the Bachelor.
No. Do you think there's anybody from the show that would have worked as an engagement?
Any of the other girls?
Yeah.
Honestly, no, because I think there was other girls that were a good catch, but he is just not ready. He's not ready. And that is so clear from his inconsistency, his back and forth, his like liking everybody and, you
Right.
know, bringing them like the girls that were eliminated and saying, oh, you can come back. That was just, his behavior was very strange the entire
Very
time.
erratic. And I mean, even just the way it started with Hannah B coming back and him, like, he even asked Hannah B, like, would you come back? Like,
Yeah, it's
on
like
the
this
show.
chapter is honestly closed.
Yeah.
She didn't choose him. And then even after the whole Jed fallout, she
Right.
asked Tyler to go on a date and
Yeah.
not Pete. So it's
Yeah.
like, dude, you were always third. This is
Right.
not going to work. Why are we even doing this right now?
Exactly. But it's, you know, he had a little bit of a wounded ego.
Yeah. And I get that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So then let's like segue into Maddie, who, you know, I mean, I think she should have told him a little bit sooner about the virginity and giving him ultimatums around like, you can't sleep with someone else in the fantasy suite was extreme, because like, it's okay to go on the show if you're a virgin. That's totally fine. I'm not knocking that. But then don't think, though, that you have the power to tell the person that you're dating in this experience that they can't explore their sexual relationships with someone else when that's a part of the show.
100%. And in the media prior to the season, she could have Googled everything about him.
Yeah.
It was very open about how he likes to date and sleep with women. Yeah. Everybody knew that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the fantasy suite with Hannah B told you everything you needed to know about Pilot Pete. So the fact that she waited so long to disclose that was very strange to me. And honestly, with the way that she was so stringent at the end, I'm not knocking her for having morals and values. I think it's wonderful. And I think she is a good example. However, the fact to just leave that big piece of information out until the most critical moment and then say, oh, by the way, in a show where you're allowed to date other women, I don't want you to be intimate with them. I thought that was so wrong. I thought she was being very selfish at that point. Yeah. And I think what she should have done, looking back on it, was I think they had 2 one-on-one dates during the season. Okay. That second one-on-one date, she should have disclosed to him, hey, this is me. I want you to know before this progresses. And then have an open and honest conversation about it, not hold it over his head after she was the third fantasy suite date and he had already been with those other women. That was not fair.
No. And you know what, to be honest, I think if she had told him sooner, he still would have kept her around.
I think so too.
You know, but it just would have been a better dynamic and understanding, which also leads me to believe, I think she acted very entitled in a lot of ways. Again, that's fine that those are your morals and your values. 100%, I honor that. But it doesn't give you entitlement. And I felt like because she is waiting, it makes her entitled for some reason or gives her some kind of extra special layer of being or something, you know?
Definitely. And I think, you know, it's just as strange that from what we learned about her at the end of the season, like why she would even be interested in coming on this show other than to get some exposure and, you know,
do you think
blow the Instagram up.
Yeah,
I do. I think, and other people have said this, I'm not alone. And I'm sorry to the people listening that are like Team Maddie. I think she's a nice girl. She's a nice girl. However, I think she had ulterior motives for coming on the show. And that was evident to me. She self-eliminated herself at the very end. She didn't really want to be with Peter. That we saw that. And the mom saw that too.
She did. We got to give Barb props. She did see. I think Barb might be a little intuitive.
I mean, listen, there's a little bit of like special, you know, qualities in mix of the crazy Barb. I mean, and mothers do know best, right? They say that, and there's truth to that. She was picking up on something in that date in Australia that, hey, Pete, she's not there for you. Something is weird. And then she said on After the Final Rose, she asked Maddie, if he proposes to you, will she say yes? And she said, I am not ready to accept the proposal right now.
Yeah.
So
that's not the right answer. You know, it's one thing to say like, it's okay to be honest and say, at this moment, I'm not sure if the proposal would make sense, but I just really want to spend time with Pete and explore this and really get to that space where a proposal would be like so on point. But she didn't. She just kind of, it felt like she was super defensive. She kept smacking her lips every other second.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God, it was driving me crazy. I was like, stop.
I know.
Stop smacking your lips, please.
I don't know if it was like a nervous energy tick that was happening. She was so uncomfortable with Barb's like, you know, outbursts because Barb is really letting her have it and letting the audience know like their, you know, dislike of her.
Mhm.
But yeah, she definitely, like, her energy. And did you look at their body language? They weren't touching. They
No.
weren't being affectionate with each other.
Mm.
They had a lot of nervous energy. There was just like, it was very
It was
strange. Like, there was
awkward.
space on that couch in between them.
Yep.
And she didn't address Barb's concerns about her being 3 hours late. She didn't apologize. I thought that was really weird.
Yeah.
And she just said, I'll never say a bad word about anybody. And then just like, she didn't really explain herself. And it's like, hey,
Yeah.
this is your platform to explain your side. And Peter didn't really say anything either. It was the most strange moment ever.
It was so awkward. And again, it just shows the maturity levels that she didn't have the maturity or the capacity to be able to show up for that situation and explain herself properly while also being respectful. There's a way to do both. And she did not have the awareness.
No. However, in contrast, I felt like Hannah Ann handled herself very well when it was her time prior to that to come out and talk about the end of their relationship
Yeah.
and kind of explain where she was at. You could tell that Pete was fairly uncomfortable because she kind of called him out on his bullshit.
Yep.
But it's interesting that they're the same age because in a way, I never thought I'd say this, but I actually see more maturity in Hannah Ann than I do in
Maddie. 100%. Yeah. I mean, Maddie's only a month older, so.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, and just the way she was carrying herself, I thought she did great. I mean, now people are saying she should have been the Bachelorette. I don't agree with that. I don't think she would have been the best fit.
Give her a couple years, and I think she'd be great. And
Exactly.
I don't know if they'd revisit her.
Well, they might.
I think they'll ask her to go on Paradise for sure.
Oh, for sure. And they're going to eat her up, whoever's there.
Yeah. And I think she'd be great. I actually think she'd be great on Paradise.
Yeah.
If I do have a prediction. If she doesn't end up with someone on Paradise, I feel that they'd revisit her to be the Bachelorette next year after Claire. I do think she'd have a shot.
I think it's an option unless there's someone that's a really strong contender on the next round of The Bachelor.
Definitely, right. Yeah. But I think she'd have a chance, kind of like how they brought Nick back out from the archives and Ari. I think she'd have a chance.
She needs another year under her belt of life and just being in this process and all of that, which I think would be helpful for sure. And also, so one more thing with the Maddie thing, I was annoyed that Chris Harrison went to Alabama to go get her.
Yeah, that was weird. It's like, why didn't Pete go get her?
Right.
Why did Chris Harrison do it?
Because I don't think Pete would have gone. Like, I think if Chris didn't go to Alabama and be like, Pete broke up with Hannah Ann, do you still love him? I don't think anything would have happened. I think they would have continued to just be separate.
Yeah, that's a good point. And it's like, was that Pete's influence? Did he contact the producers and say, hey, I want to see if there's a chance with me and Maddie. Can we set this up? Who knows? I have no idea how that unfolded.
Yeah.
But it was strange that I've never seen that before, I don't think, on another season.
No, where like Chris was just like, I got to go get her. I'm like, stop it. Like, if he really wanted her, he would have gone. And so instead, Chris picked her up and then she had to go see him.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know. The whole thing was just strange. And even when they were at the pool, I didn't feel any, and she came back, I didn't feel any chemistry.
I didn't either.
Weird.
I mean, they hugged and they, looked at each other, and I think they had a moment, but I wasn't getting like an overwhelming, these two people should be together.
Yeah, definitely not. So, I mean, all in all, I guess it was entertaining this season. There was a little bit too much drama for my liking. There were definitely moments where I'm like, there's too much yelling and fighting and confusion.
Oh, it was definitely the craziest season of like with the women that I've ever seen. I think the casting was all wrong. I think they had oil and water mixed together in there. I think the women were very catty and very immature, more so than usual. Yeah. And I feel like they focused too much on that than his individual relationships with these women. Mm-hmm. But, hindsight is 2020. Hopefully the casting people from The Bachelor learn that the way they did things this season probably won't work again. Yeah. I think they were trying to create good TV, but it honestly took away from the enjoyment of the show. Totally. I mean, I get that the drama is part of it, but it was just so overwhelming, and it was just so much in your face that like there would be nights where I'm like, I just honestly want to turn this off and go to bed. I'm like over this. Yeah,
I would record it so I could fast forward through some of it, because there were moments where I was just like, I can't. This is this is too much. And I think ABC needs to realize like their true audience that has been with them, they're the one, their true audience are the people that have been with them since 2002. They're in their 40s now. They're in their 50s. They're in their 30s, right? Like, you know, like don't try to cater to a younger audience because that's just going to be a mess. Like stay true to your loyal following. And your loyal following is older and deserves like the essence of how the show started. And yes, it can evolve and shift as our culture does, but like the extreme that they went to was just so, it just backfired. It really did.
Yeah, it was almost like the new age Bachelor that they were trying to create in the world of social media. Right. They casted all of these influencers and models and girls that were just way too young to be in a
bloggers,
engagement. Yeah, bloggers. Like if you looked at their professions, that was mostly where they were coming from. Yeah. Not to that there's anything wrong.
There was no
that.
teachers. There was no like accountants. There was nothing. It was all like very virtual based roles.
Yeah, and that's why Kelly got frustrated. Kelly is an attorney, and she saw how different she was from the other girls and that she was in a much more advanced place in her life. And she was like, this is silly. Like, I'm kind of too good for this in a way. And I get where she was coming from.
Yeah, me too. So, okay. So then that, of course, segues us into the new season, which, by the way, they postponed filming of Claire's season because of Corona.
I know. I hope that it gets back on track soon and it doesn't take, they don't delay the airing of it because it usually airs in May. So we'll have to see how that all shakes out. Yeah. But I am Team Claire. I think there's no one more deserving to play the lead for this season. And I love the fact that she's 38 and I'm hoping that we see much more sophisticated season than we just saw with Pete.
Yeah, she's a Pisces sun, Virgo moon.
Okay.
So there's definitely some more maturity there with that, a little bit more sensitivity, more intuition. I mean, she's going to be 39 because her birthday is March 20th. So she's going to be 39 soon. And when they start filming, and hopefully they can start back up again in the next month so it doesn't derail things. Because if Bachelorette gets pushed, then that means Bachelor in Paradise gets pushed.
I know, and I don't want that.
That's my favorite.
I love Bachelor in Paradise. And you know what? That show has way more success with these couples working out than any of the individual seasons.
It's true.
The Bachelor. I think only 2 Bachelors have actually gotten married, right? Jason and Sean Lowe. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Did Ari get married? And Lauren?
Okay. Yes, they did. You're right. Okay. So 3. Maybe not, and like Jason and Ari wasn't their final pick, but 3 Bachelors have gotten married to someone from the show.
Yeah, that is weird though that Jason and Ari did both get married to their second choice.
Yeah.
And they're still married and have kids and are happy.
Yeah, and it seems like it's working out.
Yeah. And then Sean's happy. But I think that's it.
Yeah, that's kind of it after 20 something seasons. But I get it. I mean, it is taking a chance. You don't know that one of these 30 people is going to be the one for you. So it's always a risk. Mm-hmm. But I am excited for Claire. I hope they get things on track in a couple of weeks in spite of what's going on in the world right now. I am disappointed, though. I did see the sneak peek of her men, and there's just way too many guys in their 20s. I don't know what they're thinking with that.
I don't know. There's a 23-year-old on there. Can you imagine? Like, you and I are 36. Can you imagine going on a date with a 23-year-old?
No, she could have been like his babysitter back in the day. Let's be serious.
Right. I mean, she could have been. Like, it's I think they should have, maybe I get it. They're putting the 23-year-old, the 25-year-old on there because they want to, right? Like
for the entertainment.
Of course. But I think there was more, I felt like it was balanced. Like they only had one person in their 40s. And then
that's disappointing.
Yeah, I think 1 or 2 was like that were 40 something. And then a good chunk was 30s. And then another good chunk was 20s, I felt like.
Yeah, I think 30 should have been the threshold.
Yeah.
And someone that's like actually ready to be with a woman who seems to have her stuff together.
Right.
A 23 or 25-year-old is probably not going to be it. I'm interested to see her take on it.
I know.
How many of those guys get one-on-one dates? Is she going to give it a shot? So I'm curious to see how she approaches it.
I think she might just vote. If it was me, I would just vote him off. Like, not to be rude.
Yeah, the first night.
Yeah,
Yeah, she
I mean,
might
like,
weed a lot of those guys out.
yeah, unless one of them makes like such a good impression and there's like some kind of physical chemistry. Because the one thing about when you meet someone, you usually know within the first 5 seconds if it's like there's something there. Not, you might not know they're your soulmate or you're going to be dating for a while, but like I
You'll know
think,
if the attraction or the spark is there. Definitely.
yeah, like I feel like my gut has always been on point with that. So I think if she just goes with that, and then if some of them are just too young, just say goodbye, you know?
Yeah.
And like
Yeah.
maybe some of those 20-year-olds were cast before they knew who the Bachelorette was going to be.
Yeah, because I think Tasha was up for the lead,
Yep.
and then Tia was up
Mhm.
for it as well. So there
Yeah.
was a couple people being considered, and Tasha and Tia are
Yep.
definitely younger than Claire. So, and they start casting early. I get
Right.
that. They start casting before they actually know who they're going to pick.
Right.
So I understand that. I wish that they would go back to I mean, hey, now that it's gotten pushed back, they could go back to the drawing board and replace some of these people if they wanted to. I hope that
They
happens.
started filming, so maybe like Claire was like, hey, wait a minute, like actually let's do a little redo, like send some of these guys home and get some new guys in.
Yeah, yeah. I'm curious if, because she's been around for a while. She's been on Bachelor in Paradise. She was on Juan Pablo's season, and then she was on the Winter Games as well. So I'm
Yeah.
curious if they're going to do the thing where somebody that was on one of these shows with her will come back that's interested.
Yeah, they always do that, don't they?
They do that. Like Becca came back. She was on Crystal's season, and then she came to Ben's season, and she was on. Ben kept her around for a while, if you remember that.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that.
Yes.
And Nick went back onto Caitlyn's.
Nick went back on it. Yep. So this has happened a couple times. So I'm not ruling that out. That somebody's going to come back from another season that likes her.
Right. Didn't she get engaged to someone from Winter Games?
Yeah. Yep. She got engaged. Benoit. Is that his name?
I don't know who that is.
Yeah. I didn't really.
I wasn't a fan of Winter Games. I didn't really watch.
No.
I watched a little and I was like, it's not really for me.
No.
I don't need to see them like you could hardly see them. They were like all in like snow gear.
Yeah, it was, I got the concept, and I think that was the year the Winter Olympics were on. So they were trying to play with that, but it was a little strange.
Yeah. And then what do you think of the rumors of Tyler and Hannah B? Did you hear about that?
Oh, I mean, I heard that she went to visit him after his mom passed. Is that what you mean?
Yeah. And apparently like there's been a lot of sightings of them together since.
You know what? I actually would be a fan of that. I think I love Tyler. I think, she clearly picked the wrong guy. I know. She clearly picked the wrong guy. The Jed thing was awful with the way and I genuinely felt bad for her because she got duped by him.
He really did. He pulled a number on her.
And then it was strange because she had her chance with Tyler after the season. They decided to get that drink after the final rose.
A simple drink.
A simple drink. Yeah.
Yep.
And then he started dating Gigi.
That's right.
Right after that. So that was weird energy because he was being pursued by Gigi. I think she slid into his DMs. I
mean, can you imagine? I mean, it's Gigi Hadid.
One of the most famous models in the world. Yeah. Right. So I get that. Yeah. He went off to pursue her. Yep. They ended up not working out. And now might be the time for Hannah and Tyler, and I'm here for it. I love it.
I mean, I think sometimes, unfortunately, traumatic moments, and I don't know how sudden his mom's passing was, but it makes you rethink things, and it makes you see who's showing up for you in those times. Like you see who your true friends are when you're in the midst of a difficult time. And the fact that Hannah B showed up for him, I probably spoke volumes.
And you have to think she would have met his mom because she had the hometown date on her season with Tyler.
So she definitely met him. I remember his mom on the show and his dad too. Because wasn't his dad unwell? I feel like
there was a lot going on with his family during that season. Yeah.
So there's something to be said for that. So I'm rooting for them. I think it'd be really cool if at the end of this they wound up together.
Yeah, I've thought about this. I'm actually surprised this doesn't happen more often, where even though the person that's the lead on the show either doesn't get engaged or doesn't end up with the final pick, that they don't end up with somebody else from the season. That doesn't really happen, and I'm kind of surprised by that.
It never does. I mean, maybe it's just because the other contestants that were in the finals are just like, hey, you didn't want me, I'm out.
And they move on.
Yeah. Which I think I would struggle a little bit. Like, let's say if I were the runner up and then it didn't work out with the first person, and then you're like, oh, okay, cool, I'm still here. Like, you can
Right.
have me now. Like, it didn't work out with the other person, but it's a tricky one,
It is
you know.
very tricky.
But I think men are less sensitive in that way. I think it would be easier for a guy to step up, like Tyler did, and be like, okay, I'm here for it, than if it were reversed and a woman to be like, well, I know I was runner up, but I'll take you.
Yeah. Yeah. Women don't necessarily like being told they're in second or third place when it comes to love. So
Oh, and that must
I
be why.
do.
Or maybe men don't
Yeah.
either, I guess. I don't know. Who knows? But that's probably why it doesn't happen because people are probably just like, yeah, like, forget it. Like, you
Yeah.
me.
And then they go on Paradise and they meet people from all
Right.
these other seasons and there's a connection there. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Okay.
get it.
So hopefully Paradise is in queue, and that doesn't get delayed.
I mean, I hope so. I think they usually start filming that in June. So they should be doing the casting pretty
Yeah.
soon for
Yeah.
that.
I mean, it'll be good. They should just quarantine them together.
Yeah. They can just take
Yeah.
them to Mexico for 2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Everybody's together.
So
And
yeah, it'll be great. So who are your picks for Paradise? Who would you like to see this round? Like,
from this recent season,
from in general, 3 men, 3 women you'd love to see in Paradise.
I'd love to see Kelly.
Okay, yep, me too.
She's got a lot of spunk, and I think she'd be great, and I think she's ready to settle down.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to see Hannah in. I want to see more of her. After I got like that like badass side of her with the breakup, I'm like, I need to see more of this girl.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be pretty cool. And then gosh, like it's hard because they would be my top 2 picks from Peter's season. Outside of that, is it if her name was Natasha, the other like real sophisticated girl, I would like that. I thought she was really well spoken and like, yeah. But I feel like they're gonna go with Kelsey. I feel like she's gonna be on Paradise because she with the champagne gate and everything, she had a lot of drama. So I think Kelsey will be there. And then men, I guess what will we have to think about Hannah B season? That's where some of the men would come from just recently.
Yeah, and then I guess technically some men will come from the Bachelorette too, depending.
Oh, that's right, from Claire's season. Depending on filming schedules, they could, they'll throw some people in.
Yeah, but there would be some past people too. Like, would Derek come back? Would like,
oh yeah,
who would?
I wouldn't mind seeing like back to Mike. I don't if he's still single. I wouldn't mind seeing him again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I think, bring Mike back.
Bring Mike back. Gosh, it's so hard to think about some of these other guys that have kind of fallen off the radar. Oh, I liked Connor. He was on last Paradise and it didn't work out for him.
Didn't work out with that girl. I know Connor. He's so tall.
I know.
I like him. Remember whatever happened to the one Ben who was like really like meaty.
I think he found love in the real world.
Oh, we did. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Spoken for.
Fine. I guess you remember he was like he loved his
Ben
dog.
Z. Is that who you're talking about?
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah, Ben Z.
He loved his dog.
He did. He was like, I just got this dog, and I was like, oh, that reminds me of
you.
myself. Yeah.
And he would like talk to all the girls about the dog.
I know. I was like, all right.
That would be you at Paradise.
Yeah, that would be me. I'd be like, I got this dog, and I might like you, but I want to talk about my dog.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess we'll just have to see. It's always kind of a fun surprise as to who shows up. I think
and
McKenna as well.
That she's for sure a shoo-in.
Yeah, she'll definitely be there. So
yeah,
we'll see.
We shall see, but Paradise is always something fun to look forward to.
Yeah. So, well, thanks for jamming out on all things Bachelor with me.
Of course. I'm always here for all things reality TV, especially The Bachelor.
Yeah.
TBD on Claire's season, but we definitely need something good after what we were just handed.
I know. I have a good feeling about it. And no matter what, I'm always ready for the change in gender. Like I'm always like, once the season ends, I'm like, okay, I'm ready for there to be 30 men now and just the woman.
Yeah. And it's less dramatic when it's the guys, when it's all the guys and just the one girl.
Yeah.
It's definitely a different vibe, but I'm ready for something new. She's going to bring a more mature energy. Mm-hmm. I think she's going to be real straightforward and like weed people out very quickly because we've seen her stand up for herself before. Mm-hmm. So I love a strong woman as the Bachelorette.
Yeah. And I feel like I'm going to learn a thing or two.
Yeah, I think that she will definitely be an inspiration for all women that are looking for love.
Yeah. So TBD.
TBD.
All right. Well, thanks, B.
Thanks, Dee. This was fun.
Yeah, I appreciate you. Till next time.
Yes. Till next time.